Joining me now from Bethlehem is Reverend Dr. Mitri Raheb, pastor and theologian. Appreciate your joining us there, Reverend. The World Health Organization today said a public health catastrophe is imminent in Gaza. The global body is saying water availability is just 5% of normal. Infants facing the risk of dehydration. What are you hearing from the ground, from your sources in Gaza?
Yes, the humanitarian situation is really very alarming. There is no food, very little. For people to get even bread, they have to be in line for hours, and they will get only very few loaves of bread. Water, clean water is not available anymore. It's all polluted. And the situation at hospitals as well. I mean, the hospitals became refuge for civilians who are trying to flee. So you have hospitals with 17,000 people taking refuge in, and there is no medication. I know of a woman that was hospitalized. Her hip was broken. There wasn't even, painkiller to give her. So the situation is very alarming indeed.
You're saying that there are hospitals which do not even have painkillers left to give victims, but Israel is unrelenting, Pastor. They are putting pressure on the West to make Egypt open its borders, allow civilians in Gaza to take shelter there. Would Palestinians in Gaza be favorable to such a situation? Is that the only hope, in a way, to live in refugee camps in Egypt to avoid the situation as you're describing it today in Gaza? Is that the only option left for them?
No, this will be ethnic cleansing, and it is a war against humanity. And so the Palestinians are against it, and the Egyptians are as well.
Israel says, though, Reverend, that they've been giving advance warning to the civilians and that they are only targeting Hamas locations. We are now told a church in Gaza, one of the oldest churches of the world, has been also hit by bombardment. In effect, am I right that no place in Gaza is safe for civilians at the moment?
Yes, correct. Unfortunately, the Christian community in Gaza fled to the churches, thinking churches will be a safe haven, but they were targeted there, and 20 people were murdered and 14 injured. And this morning, actually, Israel bombed the Arab Orthodox Cultural and Social Center in Gaza, a brand new facility, a state-of-the-art building that was inaugurated just a few months ago, and now it is in rubble. This is very, 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 I mean, these are war crimes that Israel is doing.
You're saying what Israel is doing in Gaza is a war crime, but whenever we speak to other Israeli voices, they turn around and say that it all started with Hamas and what happened on October 7th. Do you also see the Hamas attack as a horrific war crime that must be condemned with the same vociferousness as what you're calling war crimes now in Gaza?
I mean, we are against the targeting of civilians, irrespective if they are on the Israeli or they are on the Palestinian side. But the thing is that the Western world did not condemn what Israel is doing right now. They need to condemn that, and they need actually to condemn what Jewish settlers right now are doing in the West Bank, attacking Palestinian farmers and Palestinian civilians. So this needs to be addressed.
A final word then, Reverend Mitri Raheb. if you have a message for the world, what would that be, given that you're constantly in touch with those suffering in Gaza at the moment?
The message is that we should not forget that 75 years of Palestinian suffering and displacement has to come to an end. There will be no peace in this region without justice for the Palestinian. Military solutions were tried several times and they failed. The shortest way for stability and for peace in this region is through justice for the Palestinians, so that Palestinians and Israeli can live in equality and in peace and as neighbors, irrespective if in one state or in two states. All other solutions will fail. Reverend
Dr. Mitri Raheb, for speaking with compassion and calmness about what is happening in Gaza, even though you're in Jerusalem. Thank you very much for joining us, and do continue your work helping displaced people who are suffering in this conflict. Thank you very much.